Good evening, all the participants. We heartily welcome the Chairman of Committee for Members in Industry and Business of the Institute, C.A. Ranjit Kumar Agrawalji, and we also welcome the Vice Chairman of the Committee for Members in Industry and Business of the ICI, C.A. Dr. Raj Chawlaji. So we begin this program in the right earnest. This program is addressing our all participants who passed out in the July 2021 batch of the CA examinations. So we now begin with CA Ranjit Kumar Agrawalji. Sir, I request you to kindly make your welcome address, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ragnathan, Secretary of this Committee for Member Industry and Business. My very good friend and very effective Vice Chairman, CA Dr. Raj Chawlaji, faculty for this today program, Singh Saab, and all the young and dynamic participant of this program. First of all, my congratulations to all of you for clearing the CA examination and joining the industry as a leader. So my compliment to you for joining this course, passing this course, and now you have joined a corporate house as a leader of this organization. So my only advice to all of you, since you are the brand ambassador of the ICI, your conduct and your action will transform the organization in which you have joined. You should not think that you are an employee of this organization where you have joined. If you have a desire to transform this organization and own it, this organization at your own entity, you should work like that. Only then you can grow in your respective field. Our code of ethics is there. Business environment is dynamic in this today environment, and today immense opportunities available for young and dynamic chartered accountant. So you should thrive for the success in your organization, and you can thrive with success only when you should consider this organization as your own. So by owning this organization, if you work hard, nobody can beat you. And today the world is changing very fast. All the CFO, CEO of the various MNC company are Indian chartered accountant. Today we can see in the campus placement, the vacancy by the corporates has outnumbered the candidates who are passing this CA course. So I think you have joined a good corporate house. You can have experience. Our vice chairman will tell you what other measure our committee is taking in form of job portal, senior chartered accountant, campus placement, work from home, so many MDP program, IMs, Lucknow and Ahmedabad tie-up. All these things our Dr. Raj Chawla will deliberate you. I wish all of you best of luck for this 7 days program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your kind words of guidance, sir. And I now request CA Dr. Raj Chawlaji, Vice Chairman of a committee, to kindly address the participants. Thank you, sir.
Most respected the chairman of the committee, C. Ranjit Agrawalji, and the faculty for today program, Singh Saab. So, good evening to all the participants. First of all, I would like to thank the chairman, sir, for his word of wisdom. Your message was indeed important, not only for the newly qualified chartered accountant, but also for me as well. Personally, I am impressed with the idea which you have conveyed through your message. You rightly said the profession of chartered accountant is full of opportunity, where one can explore as much as opportunity as one wish to. Also, this only CA degree gives that much of knowledge and experience to a person using which one can take up any job in the field of finance and beyond. And we have many live examples before us in the real world. Now, let me inform all the participants of this executive development program that this is the 11th session of EDP program which this committee is organizing. 10 sessions of this EDP program have already been successfully conducted by the CMIB last year through virtual modes, and large number of our members have benefited a lot at the right time and the right place. Though surely most of you must be in employment by now, and many of you might be looking for a switch to the next better opportunity. Still, when I am saying the right time, and I mean that this program is conducted for the newly qualified chartered accountant, and at the time itself they need the proper counseling and guidance to know about the way forward in their career and know about what next after qualifying chartered accountancy course. So this EDP program help the generation of members to explore the way forward at the right time, just post qualification itself. Also, when I have used the word the right place, then with this I mean that there is in this EDP program we have invited the most renowned faculties, not only from India but also from across country, and counting ranging from Canada to Africa and Middle East to Australia and New Zealand. Since these very senior and well-groomed faculty have been seen opportunities across the stations beyond Indian frontiers, who can better guide the newly passed out chartered accountant than this pool of knowledge partners. My dear friends, now being the next generation of our profession, you all are the torchbearer of the aspirants who wish to become chartered accountant. ICI look at you as its brand ambassador, and the industry would see you as the most valuable professional, while also offering high paying jobs to you. But with big succession comes big responsibility as well. Every action of yours would be observed by many around you. Always be ethical in your conduct, continue to be hard and smart working, and contribute to the growth story of nation by giving your best. Please remember the one thing in your life: the best person with which you can compete and enhance your responsibility. You every new day you strive to surpass your own previous day performance. You will realize that every day you are becoming a better person than what you were yesterday. I also appeal all of you to always stay connected with your alma mater, being its alumni. Please also manage some time out of your professional life to give back to your alma mater by way of contributing to various activity of the institute. I also assure you that the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India is always standing for the interest of its member and would stand by to support you whenever you need any help. After all, the institute strives to serve its member better and better. With this, I look forward for a wonderful and knowledgeable session by the most respected faculties. I appeal all the participants to carefully listen to the faculties, as you don't know which idea from which faculty may change your life, as you have just joined the corporate world and you all have a lot to explore and a lot to learn. So with this, I wish you best of luck for your bright future and a joyful life ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir, for a very wonderful guidance that you given to our young members. And with this, sir, we start our session, technical session of today. There are two speakers we have today: CA Kala Subramanian from Singapore, followed by CA Rajesh Gandhi ji of Sweden. So I now turn the virtual dais to our Regional Director, Africa and Middle East, CA Prabdeep Singh Baveja ji. Sir, kindly take over the virtual dais from here. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Ranganatha ji. Respected Chairman C.A. Ranjit Agarwal sir, respected Vice Chairman C.A. Dr. Raj sir, thank you so much for the opportunity to young members and the opportunity to us for connecting the speakers from all around the world and all coming together to share the knowledge with young members. You have shared very briefly how these things can change our members' life, and one of the members has been asking question that why it is necessary for organizing this program. I would like, since I would like to share with all the members that since we initiated this executive development program, our faculties have been receiving number of messages from participants that how the thing which they told changed their life when they were appearing for interview or were on any project. Because when we are in our initial stage, the clarity to us is less, And if we can get the guidance of the members who have spread their wings in so many places, that makes a big difference. And today, as Ranganathanji, as you all have pointed out, that we have two faculties, first from Singapore and second from Sweden. I will briefly introduce CA Kala Subramanian, from Singapore, who will be having a 45-minute session followed by another 45-minute session by CA Rajesh Gandhi. So CA Kala is the first lady chairperson of ICI Singapore chapter, and she was the chairperson for the year 2021. She is currently working with Enam Asset Management Singapore PT Limited, Chief Executive Officer and Director. Kala has more than 24 years of work experience in investment management, corporate finance strategy. She has diversified leadership roles and was part of the management team in corporate restructuring, risk management, financial management. A commerce graduate from University of Madras, she is a chartered accountant from our institute. She is a certified public accountant from Australia, and she is also a management accountant from our sister institute, Cost Accountants in India. She also has a degree in IATA. She is a director in Enam subsidiaries and funds. She is a regular speaker and contributor in professional forums in Singapore and in India. She is a classical dancer, singer, and loves to travel. She traveled a lot and lived in few countries before moving to Singapore. She has been part of various non-profit organization activities. I would like to tell all that Kala has been a very versatile, I would say, I had observed her very closely when she was the chairperson of Singapore chapter, and the variety she had brought in the chapter also helped the chapter to earn the Invest Chapter Awards. And congratulations, Kala, to you from this podium, from this stage. And I'm sure the topic which you have chosen today, where you will be talking about global opportunities, budgets and controls in this era of post or in COVID type period, will make a big difference to our young members. And with this, Kala, I hand it over to you, and looking forward to your session. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabdeep. Good evening. A warm welcome to all our members, and congratulations to all those who have cleared the exams now. Thanks to ICA, Chairman CA Debashish Mitra, Vice Chairman CA Aniket Thalati, CMIB Chairman CA Rajneet Agarwal, Vice Chairman CA Dr. Raj Chawla, and CA Prabdeep, CA Ranganathan, and the entire team, because I think without them, many times we do not know the people behind the screen, okay, like Ranganathan, Prabdeep, who have been taking a lot of efforts. And it's just not about one time, where I have been seeing continuously, relentlessly, the pursuit of your effort. We could see successfully you have been doing this program. I wish you all the best and for this success. And what more important is, I always say, it's not about doing the event for the sake of doing the event, but bringing that energy, enthusiasm, happiness. I've always seen this in Prabdeep and Ranganathan ji, always this happiness. And congratulations to you for successfully, and I wish you to conduct many, many more programs, and which I am sure would be helping. As the Vice Chairman said, we also learn. But when you give an opportunity to speak, I always say every day is a learning day. So along with whoever has cleared, we also learn. So thanks for that. And when I chose this topic, because generally what happens is I've seen many have been speaking on the overseas opportunities, and which has always been one of the famous topics, right? People always want to, once they clear, they want to move abroad and see where are the opportunities available. Unexpected, expected, this pandemic, right? We all need to be prepared for that, whether it is a personal finance or a company finance. So we need to be prepared, and we need to have a planning. So today is, because when I took this topic, I interacted almost about 20-25 of my other colleagues and friends in their company. What is budget to them and how they do? And especially I want to hear in the pandemic era, what did they do? So I compared all those things. One is studying. From my experience, I'm telling many times we say, okay, we have studied this, we know. No, practical experience is entirely different. Studying is, yes, that's for the academic knowledge, but only when you experience, when you work in the company, you really come to know how does it work, what are the challenges you face, and how you to resolve it. So today I'll not be going technically what is standard costing, variance, how do you do budgets, no. But how do we do it in a simpler terms? What are the challenges we do face in our company? And how do we solve it along with the cost? And of course, the last 10 minutes, the most interesting topic of overseas opportunities will be covered. So can I share the screen now, Prabdeep? Can I share the screen?
Yes, Kala. Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Please share the screen, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you see? Can you see the screen? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We can see it, ma'am, very clearly. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Thank you.
Yes, Kala.
Okay, the discussion
Just Kala, you can check the slide. Yeah.
But I think I'll go with this, Prabdeep. So
Okay. Continue.
Yeah, then as I speak, I keep moving it.
Yeah.
So, and I would also like to apologize to the panels, the team, and to all the members. My camera I could not switch on. There is a slight technical glitch, so that's why you could not see me. So apologies for that. And now starting with this, the discussion flow on this is like the first is on the budget, plan, and benefits, the challenges, solutions, the cost control, cost management, and what is it in post-pandemic. Next is the overseas opportunities and the connector and the opportunities. We go to the first one, budget plan, the personal corporate benefits. What is this importance of a budget? There is quote, we must consult our means rather than our wishes by George Washington. Budgeting is not just for people who do not have enough money. It is for everyone who wants to ensure that their money is enough. The basic thing with frugality is if you can't afford it, don't buy it. So what happens is a budget helps create financial stability. A budget puts a person on stronger financial footing for both the day-to-day and the long term. A budget is an estimation of revenue and expenses over a specified future period of time and is usually compiled and revalued on a periodic basis. Now, there are corporate budgets, as I said, then the personal budget. Corporate budgets, is it necessary? Yes, it is essential. Why? Because the pandemic is a good example where you need to also, that temporary when we have faced this difficulty, so how you would have managed it, that short term, and it's also in the long term horizon. And now, what are these budget myths? When it comes to personal, many of us, we think we don't need this budget, we don't need the planning. What is the myth? Everyone says, I don't need a budget. Why? For those who enjoy an income that covers all bills with the money left over, a budget can help maximize savings and investments. For a people whose cash flow is tight, it can be crucial for identifying expenses that could be reduced or cut and minimizing any wasteful interest being paid on credit cards or other debt. Then we will say, I'm not good at maths. Nowadays, you don't need to be good at maths to do a budget, right? There are many programs which is free and is legitimate. And even if you know to do a spreadsheet software, so you can make your own ledger. And many people, we thought like, oh, my job is secure. I don't need. No one's jobs is truly safe. If you work for a corporation, there could be a chance that being laid off due to downsizing or a takeover is always a possibility. If you could work for a small company, it could die with its owner, be bought out or just sold. Next is they say, I don't want to deprive myself. Budgeting is not synonymous with spending as little money as possible or making yourself feel guilty about every purchase. The aim of budgeting is to make sure you are able to save a little each month, ideally at least 10% of your income, or at the very least to make sure that you are not spending more than you earn. And then the other thing is, I don't want anything big. If you don't have any major saving goals like buying a house, starting your own business, it's hard to drum up the motivation to stash away extra cash each month. However, your situation and your attitudes likely will change over time. And the other myth is, I'm debt free. Good for you. But being debt free without any savings won't pay your bills in an emergency. A zero balance can quickly become a negative balance if you don't have a safety net. Then always say, I always get a rise. It's never a good idea to count an unpredictable source of income. This may be the year your company may not have enough money to give you a rise. The same is true of bonus money. Other one is, we say that I just don't have the discipline. If you're still not convinced that budgeting is for you, here is a way to protect yourself from your own spending habits. Set up an automatic transfer from your account to savings account you won't see, scheduled to happen right after you get paid. If you are saving for retirement, you may have the option of contributing a set amount regularly to a retirement savings plan. This way, you can pay yourself first, have enough money for the transfer, and pay yourself the same predetermined amount that you know will help you meet your saving goals. So, what are you suffering from mounting bills and a lack of funds? There are some possible steps to take. Avoid immediate disaster. Don't be afraid to request bill extensions or payment plans from creditors. Skipping or delaying payments only worsens your debt. And besides, late fees ding your credit score. And especially in a country like Singapore, people need to understand any delayed payment will definitely ding your credit score. So you all need to take care of this and make the payment regularly. Prioritize the bills. Go over all your bills to see what must be paid first and then set up your payment schedule based on your paydays. You will want to leave yourself some catch-up time if some of your bills are already late. If this is the case, call the bill companies to see how much you can pay now to get back on track towards positive status. Tell them you're taking strict measures to catch up. Be honest about the amount you can afford to pay. Don't just promise to pay the full amount later. And then, if in the worst case you have to ignore the 10% savings rule, stashing 10% of your income into your savings account is daunting when you are living to paycheck. It does not make sense to have $100 in a savings plan if you're fending off debt collections. Your piggy bank will have to starve until you can find the financial stability. Review the spending. To fix your finances, you need to get a handle on your outlay first. Online banking and online budgeting software can help you categorize spending so you can make adjustments. Many people find that just by looking at aggregate figures for discretionary expenses, they are spurred to change their patterns and reduce excessive spending. Eliminate unnecessary expenses. Once you have got a sense of where the money goes, it's time to tighten up. All cutbacks should start with items you would not miss or habits you should change anyway, like reducing your fresh food purchases if you find ingredients spoiling before you can eat them, or preparing meals at home more instead of going to restaurants or getting takeout. Some expenses you should not drop, but might be able to adjust could include reducing your insurance rate by switching carriers. Negotiate credit card rates. There are other proactive ways to reduce expenses. Those killer interest rates on your credit cards are not fixed in stone. Call the credit card company and ask for a reduction in the annual percentage rates. If you have a good record, that's why I said if you have a good record, so it's very, very important when you're all having the credit cards, Always have a good credit scores. If you have a good record, your request might be approved. Then keep a budget journal. Once you have gone through the steps, monitor your progress for a few months. You can do this by writing everything you spend in a notebook, via budgeting apps on your phone, or with the software you used to review spending. How you track money is not important as how much you are tracking. Focus on ensuring that every cent is accounted for by dividing your expenses in categories. Fine-tune and adjust the spending as needed after each month. The next is seek new income. For the time being, saving and investing money is out, but consider ways to increase earnings. Like you may get another part-time job or picking some freelance work. Well, rather, it's a tool you use to make sure your future is better and yes, richer than your present. So now, then how do you build a budget? So now, the finding new source of income, is this the first step? If you simply increase the income without a budget to handle the extra cash properly, the gains tend to slip through the cracks and vanish. Once you have a budget in place and have more money coming in than going out, you can start investing to create more income. So always remember the big picture. The point of the budget is to keep you out of overwhelming debt and help you build a financial future that will give you more freedom, not less. So think about how you want your future to be, and remember that keeping to your budget will get you there. Adding to your debt load, on the other hand, will mean that your future could even be tighter. Now, then the succession planning. We come to the corporate side. See, some business owners began their operation with a wave of optimism and enthusiasm, but without a well thought out budget, they find is not possible to create a successful action plan. Corporate budgets are integral part of running any business efficiently and effectively. The process begins. How does the process begins? In a corporate, so far I told about this personal, how you need to take care of the finance and what are the myths. Now moving to the corporate side, the process begins by establishing assumptions for the upcoming budget period. These assumptions are related to the projected sales trends, cost trends, and the overall economic outlook of the market, industry, or sector. Specific factors affecting potential expenses are addressed and monitored. The budget is published in a package that outlines the standards and the procedures used to develop it, including the assumptions about the markets, key relationships with the vendors that provide discounts, and explanations of how certain calculations were made. Often, the sales budget is the first one to be developed, as subsequent expense budgets cannot be established without knowing future cash flows. Budgets are developed for all the different subsidiaries, divisions, and departments within an organization. For a manufacturer, a separate budget is often developed for direct materials, labor, and overhead. Now, what happens? So we have different departmental budget, functional budget, and all these budgets get rolled up into the master budget, which also includes budgeted financial statements, forecast of cash inflows and outflows, and overall financing plan. At a corporation, the top management reviews the budget and submit it for approval to the board of directors. The budget can be static. These are the major two types we always say. It can be a static. It can be a flexible. Static, it remains unchanged over the life of the budget, regardless of the changes that occur during the budgeting period. All accounts and figures originally calculated remain the same. On the contrary, a flexible, both type of budgets are useful for the management. A static budget evaluates the effectiveness of the original budgeting process, while a flexible budget provides deeper insight into business operations. When running a business, what happens is it is easy to get bogged down with the day-to-day problems and miss the bigger picture. Successful businesses allocate time to create and manage budgets, prepare and review business plans, and regularly monitor their financial situation and business performance. So budgeting identifies the current available capital, provides an estimate of expenditure, and anticipates incoming revenue. By referring to the budget, businesses can measure performance against expenditure and ensure that resources are available for initiatives that support business growth and development. It actually helps the business owners to concentrate on cash flow, reducing cost, improving profits, and increasing returns on investment. Actually, budgeting is the basis for all business success. It helps with both planning and control of the finances. If there is no control over spending, planning is futile. And if there is no planning, there are no business objectives to achieve. So what does a budget do? A budget is, in a simple form, is a plan to control the finances of the business, ensure the business can fund its current commitments, enable the business to meet its objectives and make confident financial decisions, make sure the business has money for future projects. Coming to benefits, the benefits of budgeting should never be underestimated when running a business. It's been found that the small businesses, almost 61% of it, never concentrate on doing the budgets or the budget planning. The benefits of doing a budget is budgeting estimates revenues, plans expenditure, and restricts any spending that is not part of the plan. Budgeting ensures that money is allocated to those things that support the strategic objectives of the business and not an unnecessary spending on the other activities. A well communicated budget. See, this is very important. It's not just preparing the budget, but it is to be communicated. A well communicated budget helps everyone understand the priorities of the business. It is very important that every department, there is the team, the management, everyone has to be communicated and have to work together and need to understand the priorities of the business. The process of creating a budget provides opportunities to involve staff, resulting in them sharing their organization's vision. Engaging the team in reviewing and comparing the budget with actuals can provide information that highlights the strengths and weakness of the business. If you are running your business without a proper budget, you may find you are actually just running around in circles and not meeting your long-term goals. By taking the time now to set a budget, you will free up time in the future and give yourself the best chance of achieving the rewards you want for your hard work. As I said, 61% of small businesses, how your business is performing. A budget can drive important business decisions like cutting down on unwanted expenses, increasing staff, or purchasing new equipment. If you end up with insufficient money, the budget can guide you in altering your business plan or prioritizing your spending on activities. With the right budgeting plan, you can keep your businesses out of debt or find ways to reduce the debt is currently facing. A comprehensive budget can be used for obtaining business loans from banks or other financial institutions. Now, there are different types of budget. I'm not going to get into detail of this. Actually, a master budget, as I said, a master budget is an aggregation of lower level budgets created by the different functional areas. The other budget or operating budget, it shows the business projected revenue and expenses associated with a period of time. But it gives you an estimate of the money that comes in or goes out of a business. Then there is a financial budget. Businesses draft this budget actually to understand how much capital they'll need at what times for fulfilling short-term and long-term needs. And there is a labor budget, as the name suggests, it is for planning on hiring employees to achieve the goals. Then, as I already explained about the static and the flexible budget. Now, what are these components of a budget? If you're starting a new business, the first budget you create might be a challenge, but it is a good learning experience and a good way to understand what works best for your business. The best place to start is getting to know your budget components. Initially, you may need to take several assumptions to get your budget started. So what are the components? Estimated revenue. This is the money you expect your business to make from the sale of goods and services. There are two main components of estimated revenue. One is the sales forecast and the other one is the estimated cost of goods sold or services rendered. So if your business is more than a year old, then your experience will guide you in estimating these components. Next is the fixed cost. When your business pays the same amount regularly for a particular expense, this is classified as a fixed cost. Some examples, if I have to give you rent, utility payments, employee salaries, or internet services, etc. Next, the variable cost. This includes the cost of goods or services that can fluctuate based on your business success. So you have a product in the market, say, that is gaining popularity. The next thing, what you would like to do is manufacture more of that product. So the cost of the raw materials required for the production, the distribution channels used for supplying that product, and the production labor will all change when you increase production. So these all will be considered the variable expenses. Then one-time expenses, these are one-off unexpected costs that your business might incur in any given year. And then the cash flow. This is the money that travels in and out of the business. You can get an idea of it from your previous financial records and use that information to forecast your earnings for the year you're budgeting for. You will want to pay attention not only to how much money is coming in, but also very important is when is the period. The final budget component, I already said, like the components are estimated revenue, fixed costs, variable costs, one time extracting your estimated costs from revenue. An increase in profit means your business is growing, which is a good sign. Once you have projected how much profit you are likely to make in a year, you will be able to decide how much to invest in each functional area of your organization. So basically, if you see, your budget is a roadmap for your business. Now, let me go. What are the 5 common challenges? So, Pradeep, how much time I have? I have to complete by 9, right? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You can take maybe 25 minutes more.
So if you then accordingly, yes. I will, try to finish it. So it's now 8:45. I have to complete by 9, under 15 minutes or 20 minutes, right?
No.
Yeah, 25 minutes you can take, ma'am. 25 minutes.
25
yeah, okay,
minutes
thank you.
have.
Yeah, okay. I just do not want to overrun, right? Or to be within the timeline. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
So the next, thank you so much. And the next one is, we go to the next slide. And what are the common challenges? As I said, when I took this topic, I have interacted with almost 20 to 25 people working in the different industries. And I've been asking, what are the challenges you face? Everything, there's solutions, or right from how do they make the budget. And from this, we cull out the 5 common challenges which they said is in creating and sticking to your budget. Creating a budget for yourself can be hard enough. When you add the challenges of funding a full-fledged business, the process can become very complicated. It is not as we think. Even after a budget is created, there can be many factors that can lead you to digress from the company budget. A few challenges are inaccuracies in the data, the number one. A business can consist a lot of departments such as recruiting, resource management, marketing, product development, HR, which all have their own expenses. So collating a list of expenses for all these departments correctly can be a monumental task. Often there are inaccuracies in the data collected which can have a major impact on the allocation of resources in the budget. The next challenge is lack of modifying. In most cases, businesses create budgets before the start of a fiscal year based on various financial, as I said, very important is economic factors at that current time. However, not revisiting the budget regularly or modifying it as per the latest trends can result in the mismanagement of resources and can place you behind your competitors. The third one is excessive focus on financial outcomes. Since earning revenue and profit is a major component of how businesses measure their growth, most budgets focus on achieving the financial goals of the company and tend to overlook the need of improving the qualitative aspects of the business, such as employee engagement or workplace satisfaction. Although these factors may not directly contribute to the growth of business, including them in the budget can improve your company's work performance and standing in the business community in the long run. And then lack of time to create a budget. Creating a well-organized budget requires careful consideration of a number of factors, and this can be very time-consuming. Unfortunately, the budgeting process is usually left to be completed at the end of fiscal year when there is shortage of time and resources. So this can produce inaccuracies in the budget which can be harmful for a business. Unwillingness to change. The fifth common challenges. Most company budgets are usually similar versions of the previous year budgets with very few changes. The annual expenditure of different departments sets the tone for their funding in the next budget. So this might encourage some departments to indulge in more expenditure, which can waste limited resources, especially in a smaller company. So then how do we resolve this? So we have said these are the common challenges. There could be many more challenges. Again, as I said, depends on the industry. So I have taken the most common challenges. So as I said, depending on the industries and the department they are working, even the challenges could be more. Now, how you could resolve these budgeting issues? Even within the digital age, many companies still rely on manual process for budget creation and cost control. Many effective budgeting tools in the market can synchronize financial factors like invoices and payrolls to produce accurate financial reports. Accurate reports are imperative for company budgets, and using the right budgeting tool can also help in maintaining a budget for the remainder of the year. Employing an effective system of regular checks and audits throughout the year will ensure budget compliance and budget modifications as per the company requirements are properly met. Involving all your employees in the budget creation process can also motivate them to follow the budget throughout the year. I'm repeating this, involving all your employees in the budget creation process can also motivate them to follow the budget throughout the year. Learning about efficient budget management can significantly contribute to your company's financial growth as well as improving your organizational and management skills. If you're looking for an appropriate course that can introduce, there are many executive development program, business finance, where you can learn this and then try to learn more about it. And one of the articles which I've recently studied in this, the London School of Businesses and Finance, where they write articles about this budgets, the problems faced, the challenges, and how to resolve this. Now, what are the disadvantages of the budgeting? Number one is unrealistic results. A budget is based on a set of assumptions that are generally not too far distance from the operating conditions under which it was formulated. If the business environment changes to any significant degree, the company's revenue or cost structure may also change so radically that actually results will rapidly depart from the expectations. Then rigid decision making. The budgeting process only focuses the attention of the management team on strategy during the budget formulation period near the end of the fiscal year. For the rest of the year, there is no procedural commitment to revisit strategy. Time required to complete the budget. It can be very time consuming to create a budget, especially in a poorly organized environment where many iterations of the budget may be required. The time involved is lower if there is a well-designed budgeting procedure in place and employees are accustomed to the process. Next, gaming the system. An experienced manager may attempt to introduce budgetary slack, which involves deliberately reducing revenue estimates and increasing expense estimates so that he can easily achieve favorable variances against the budget. Blame for outcomes. If your department does not achieve its budgeted results, the department manager may blame any other departments that provide services to it for not having adequately supported its department. Expense allocations. The budget may prescribe that certain amount of overhead costs be allocated to various departments, and the manager of those departments should with you. And the thing is, only you consider the financial outcomes. The nature of the budget is numeric, so it tends to focus management attention on the quantitative aspect of a business. This usually means an intent focus on improving or maintaining profitability. In reality, customers do not care about the profits of a business. They will only buy from the company as long as they are receiving good service and well-constructed products at a fair price. Unfortunately, it is quite difficult to build these concepts into your budget since they are qualitative in nature. Now, so what are the solutions? Performance-based framework allocates resources to specific objectives or activities based on appropriate metrics. Ultimately, this framework provides increased visibility into how financial decisions translate into results. Traditional budgets are created based on requests from competing stakeholders, each justifying their projected expenditures based on their departmental needs rather than overall goals of the organization. So how do you solve this? Priority-based evaluation framework helps establish concrete targets and priorities based on that year's strategic goals. The targets are then communicated to all the stakeholders involved in the budget process, leading to faster decisions, minimizing budget negotiation issues that may arise from competing interests and priorities. And there are some budgeting approach that has consistently shown high rates of inaccurate assumptions, a massive time commitment, and tedious manual input. So what is the solution? Driver-based planning bases budgets and financial forecast on operational drivers such as customers, unit of output, etc. It uses mathematical and linked relationships to create detailed budgeting, forecasting and planning models with fewer inputs than traditional models, while simultaneously reducing errors and saving time by using preset calculations based on operational activities. To be successful, budgets and plans should be updated as frequently as needed to reflect economic, organizational, and other outside variables rather than seen as a set in stone. Performance under alternative or what-if scenario. A budget that takes in account performance under alternative scenarios will serve your organization better than one that ignores the future and risk and invests too much time detailing the budget based on what happened in the past. Now I'll go to the cost control. Now it's already 9. I'll quickly go through this. See, since we spoke about budget, because when it is budget, it's linked with cost control. And that's the reason I took this topic also, though this is again a topic by itself to be spoken separately. I'll just try to cover it very briefly. See, cost control is a process of defining and minimizing business expenses. Cost control and cost management are often used interchangeably, but actually handle two different financial elements. Although both are necessary to improve profitability and business growth, cost management involves a logistic pertaining to the budget preparation. From initial planning to funding, cost management considers the full life cycle and the resources needed for a financial project. In order to maintain cost control, companies need to be aware of what needs to be done, what has already been done, how actual and expected performance compare, what corrective actions should be implemented, alterations to the plan of action. Now, the benefits of the cost control: debt management, increased budgets, better credit, improved, and what are the measures of the cost control? Negotiate agreements. This even I have done practically. This is one of the skill. Negotiation is a skill where, like you would have seen, I have itself attended some of the courses on the negotiation skill, and this is very important in all the corporate worlds. And build stable relationship with vendors. Utilize cloud computing management systems. The cloud-based systems are active around the clock and automate repetitive tasks such as record keeping, which can reduce labor expenses. So this gives companies more flexibility when it comes to designating employees for various jobs. So the last point, the 4 steps for cost management are resource planning, cost estimation, cost budgeting, cost control. Now quickly we move to the next slide. Now post-pandemic, I just want to quickly cover on that. See, actually the COVID pandemic has taken the world by storm since it was first discovered in late 2019, affecting virtually all set of human endeavors. Business owners, business advisors, and other business stakeholders were not left out on the onslaught. It has become more difficult to follow through with the budget planning due to the many uncertainties. Now business owners must adapt to this new normal and make budgets while accounting for COVID-19. To make such budgets, a detailed financial report is necessary. Having a breakdown of preceding fiscal years before projections for the coming year is a key. However, you need to understand how the pandemic has destabilized the business's financial reports. The pandemic has resulted in the destabilization of business financials, if you ask me, primarily in 3 ways. One is the rent lease. The pandemic has forced many to work from home. SMEs may be considering downsizing office space or giving it up altogether as they embrace a more remote style of working. And then employment and salaries. Many employees were furloughed or took a pay reduction as business stalled. So even there is a survey that 62% of the workers have to do a pay cut. However, the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic compelled many to cut down their salary budget. Pay rises turned to pay cut in no time. So in other words, workers were laid off, and this was what I was covering in the initial when I said how do you plan or what are the budget myths. And then utilities, office expenses. Over the past year, many companies had to implement a work from home policy during the pandemic. With fewer or nobody in the office, businesses will have experienced a reduction in utility costs such as electricity. Reductions in overhead from utilities may be absorbed by new expenses. So company have had to adopt outsourcing to automated systems such as replacing a receptionist with an automated answering service, implement chatbots or email autoresponders, or upping the service level of platforms such as like Zoom or like Blue Jeans or Microsoft 365. It has become apparent that virtual meetings are here to stay. So including increases in these subscription services will be important to your budget planning as they will be likely be adopted permanently. I'll just quickly go through the tips and then we move to the overseas opportunities. Now, what is the tip for the budget, especially post the COVID? Ask questions that affect your business, key performance indicators. Like, what are my expected sales before the pandemic? Amidst the pandemic, is my product service more or less relevant to the consumer? What should be the level of customer service be at this time? Should you put in more budget towards digital or social media marketing? How much are you willing to invest in human capital development and infrastructure? Create multiple scenarios, cash flows, or contingency budgets. What your business cash flow would look like, assuming a best case scenario and worst case scenario. One big takeaway from the pandemic experience is that anything can happen. What is the status of your business loans, lines of credit, and overdraft limits? Do these need to be adjusted? Think beyond a fiscal year. When budgeting, do not see it as a year in isolation. Your budget needs to align with the bigger picture of your business. How has the pandemic affected your tax planning and strategy? How have any subsidies or relief programs affected your taxes? Times are rapidly changing. Making budgets and financial reports should not be a one-time event, but rather iterative. It can be as frequent or monthly or weekly. If you're having trouble navigating these unprecedented times and getting a grasp on how to move forward with planning. Now we go to the next, the overseas opportunities. Okay, coming to this, as I said, this is one of the most interesting topic as well. So the people who are interested to move, I have 5 minutes, Prabdeep.
Yes, Kala, you have 10 minutes.
Okay.
10 minutes you have.
Okay. So now, the many of the people, this is from my practical experience, and I've been part of the many events, like where I've spoken about the opportunities or I've been a moderator. See, when you have studied CA, yes, definitely it's an excellent qualification. We all after the hard work, we have studied, come in India CA. Now, when you have to move abroad, it is very important what your mindset is. First, plan your mindset. First is then the skill set. The skill set is it CA alone enough? No. Having a CA qualification alone is not enough. You need to see where you're going to move into and what is your specialization is. Now I've seen that ICA has come up with many. Even I've joined for 2-3 courses. I've completed it. Whatever you want to choose, whether it is in capital markets or in a public accountant. So you choose what you want to, what you need to become specialized. And I say skill set, see the qualifications, because in many countries, our CA qualification is still to be considered at par with the local qualification. So it is also important that when you move abroad, so like for in Singapore, so many people do the CA Singapore or they do the CP Australia. So try to add the qualifications that you need when you want to move abroad. Then you need to have the right tools kit. I'm moving to the next slide, which, So if you look here, I'm just giving what are the, for example, relationship management, a senior banker coverage officer, customer mindset, data storytelling, have a global perspective, influencing and these are the skills you need to have. If you're in the research, like what are the jobs? Economist, research and analyst, advanced digital acumen, advisory, analytics and computational modeling, data storytelling, sales and trading, advanced digital acumen, analytics and computational modeling, customer mindset. These are the new skills I've listed. What are the new skills that is required for a person? Like when you're looking for an opportunities abroad. Now, these are the statics. This could be, I think it's not very new. So there could be more MOUs that has come in the place where you can find it in our ICA website. So they have entered into a lot of MRAs and MOUs, and it's always good to use of these MOUs and try to look for an opportunity. We have chapters, I think almost more than 45 chapters across the world, and can always connect it with the foreign chapter or the representative office for any assistance. And these are all center of excellence, the business schools. And what happens is of late especially myself, I have seen the last 2-3 years, there have been a lot of interactions with the embassies or the industry forums, business forums. Either it is like the investment vice versa, and recently also we have heard about the Australia and India, the trade agreement. So that happens both the ways. And so with this also, we can make use of all these MOUs or the MRAs that sign with the different other institutions. So this is a digital area, as we all know. So it's a new ABCD. What is a new ABCD? Artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud and data. Then what are the scope we have? There's a lot of scopes in private equity and banking, because this is an investment. And I think this is also one of the most interesting thing that happens in the investment. Now, the other area is risk assessment and internal control. So these are the areas and which is gaining importance, and there are a lot of job opportunities created. AML, FATF, I have to tell, because I also handle compliance, and this compliance landscape, it's ever changing. With more and, the new economic outlook, we see new market forces, even with the pandemic. So a lot of things are changing. Now we are going digital. Everything is virtual. Previously, we see when we do the DDQ, when we have the clients coming, visiting our office where we spend a day, but now it's all happening over the Zoom. So it's in the digital era. So a lot of changes. The compliance landscape is changing, and more countries are coming into FATF. And this is one, and there are specialized courses that is conducted by for example, Singapore. Here there is a course that is conducted by CA or the company, how you call in India, I think the register of companies we call here ACRA. So there are courses where people, those who have cleared or authorized agents on their AML. So there are a very good scope to me. If you ask me, AML, there is a good scope, I think not only in Singapore, maybe the other Southeast Asian regions as well. Now, the next one, the robotic process automation. Automation, I think we have seen the post-pandemic, this is gain wide importance. So these are the other areas. So it's not that having the qualification, we need to be also have that IT skills. No more we can say that we'll be doing it manually. It's ever changing. So it has to be digital. IT skills is it's if you ask me, it's important. You need to have that skill. So these are the opportunities you can get in abroad. So with this, I think I'm coming to the end of this session. So I think I'm on time. Thank you so much once again. So let me know if there are any questions or anything. I'm happy to attend it.
Yeah. Thank you, Kala. Thank you so much. Kala, as you know, today is the first day, and we have been receiving this question again and again, that what are the benefits of attending this program. As you have been associated with this since long time, and the speakers have come across from different parts of the world, can you in your short 1 or 2 minutes talk about how the young members can gain from this program? You have already spoken. If you can again speak about it.
I'll just tell briefly. As I said, I've been following up all these sessions, the speakers, because many of the speakers, some from abroad. So my next Gandhi, who is going to speak, I know him as well. See, all these members, because they have just cleared the chartered accountants, right? As I always say, academic is, yes, you have read theory, you have come on. But practical, when you hear from them, they are all sharing with you what they have seen practically. So that's that experience, hearing out that experience, and also knowing out, because now sitting in India, you may not be knowing what are the opportunities available outside. One is reading it, but hearing it out from the people who are in the field, right? It's always help you either to enhance your skills or to, again, as I said, if you need that, yes, I need to add more skills, because each country is different. Right, it has its own demography. It is regulated, so that helps when you hear from whether it is Southeast Asia or from Europe or from US. So you tend to get to hear their practical experience and what practically is also required for a person to be. See, it's not the qualification alone makes a full personality, right? You need to add more. There are they say whether the soft skills or the work experience, which you have been sharing it. That's a great benefit that you do by joining this session, and also the varied topics when experienced speaker shares with you. And I would encourage, as I said, myself, I have benefited by attending all these sessions.
Right.
I keep attending because that really helps me. As I said, it's a learning for me as well. That's the thing, as I said. When I do also, it's also a learning session, not only for the new, for people like us also.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kala, to extend vote of thanks to you and appreciation from the committee. I would request our committee secretary, G. Ranganathan Ji. Can you, Kala, stop sharing your screen so that I can display your certificate also, certificate of appreciation? Yes, Ranganathan Ji will take it over from here and allow me to. I'll just display the certificate from the committee. Just 1 second. So thank you, Kala, and this is the appreciation from the committee. And now, for formal vote of thanks, Ranganathan Ji will take.
The certificate didn't appear. Prabdeep Ji's certificate didn't appear.
It didn't appear, but
no,
but for me it says you are sharing certificate. I'm not sure. We'll have to check with the technical
but
team.
Your desktop appeared. Your desktop came, but not the certificate.
Okay. Well, I do not know. Maybe we'll check with the team.
Sorry. Please do.
Yeah. Okay.
Ma'am, it's a pleasure and express our grateful thanks to you for such a wonderful session. You also very rightly covered the importance of this session. In fact, our young members will certainly appreciate that knowledge is always valuable. You never know at what point of time in your life this knowledge is helpful to you. It can bring tangible and intangible benefits at any point of time. And ICA takes great efforts. Our faculty members, our senior members, they all take so much effort, spare so much of their time to address them, to give back something to the profession, which is really laudable. Ma'am, in this session, you very rightly covered about practical. Initially, very rightly said that everything is not taught in the classrooms. Many things are acquired during, practical experiences acquired only when you are on the job. You covered the personal finance, corporate budgeting, the importance, the spending habits, budgeting strategy, and how budgeting is important for business and also for personal planning. The various components of budget, cost control, the post-pandemic situation, how things have changed, that are very, very important. And even that has got great effect on the budgeting. Thank you so much, ma'am, for a very wonderful session. It was a great learning from you. Thank you. I'm very grateful to you. Over to you, Pradeep ji.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ranganathan ji. Thank you, Kala. So from Singapore, we now move on to Sweden, where we have CA Rajesh Gandhi. Thank you, Rajesh, for accepting the invite of the committee and being here today. And Rajesh, before Rajesh takes over, I'll briefly introduce Rajesh. CA Rajesh Gandhi, he's a leader of our Stockholm, Sweden representative office. Rajesh qualified as a chartered accountant in 2005 and has also completed graduation in commerce. He spent his earlier career in the companies like Gujarat State Petronet Limited, Adani Group, and Nico Resources. He started with his current organization, Sandvik in Pune, India, in 2011 and moved to Sweden in 2015. Currently, he is serving as Director of Financial Control for one of the business area of Sandvik Group. In his beginning of career, he worked mainly in the area of accounting and reporting, and later he moved to tax and transfer pricing. Currently, he is responsible for financial control, which includes accounting, reporting, governance, and enterprise risk management. He has also worked on various projects like ERP implementations, merger and acquisitions and integrations, consolidations, system rollouts, etc. Currently, he is living with his wife and son in Sweden since 2015. He started his journey in Sweden as transfer pricing controller and now working as Director of Finance Control. Thank you so much, Rajesh. As I said, that Rajesh is our leader in this Stockholm chapter, Stockholm representative office, and sincere gratitude to him and also to the past chair of our Doha chapter, CA Nirlip Bhatt, who will be moderating a session on the last day. So, though CA Nirlip had connected CA Rajesh Gandhi with ICAI, and then he has worked hard to create a representative office, and I'm sure his hard work will soon convert representative office of Stockholm into a chapter. Rajesh, thank you. You have been always very helpful. You have always come forward to support the institute, and today, as we have 45 minutes for you, we sincerely hope that members will greatly benefit from you. You have been on this stage earlier also in one of the programs in August, September last year. And today we look forward to you with another topic as opportunities, professional opportunities in Europe. So thank you, and over to you, Rajesh.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I will start sharing with my screen. So
yes,
just let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Yeah,
fine.
Good. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Committee for Members in Industry and Business. Also, President Sri Debashish Mitra ji, Aniket Talati, Vice President, and Mr. Raj Chawla ji and Ranjit Agrawal ji. I'm also thankful to Prabhadeep and G. Ranganathan for providing me this opportunity to share my views with the newly qualified chartered accountants. Before we jump into the topic, I would like to mention that please make sure that you are in a safe location. You know where to go in case of any emergency, and please take care of COVID hygiene, I should say, precautions. It's a very nice topic, I should say, to talk about. And as Prabodip mentioned, we already shared I think, similar session in September last year, where the various, I should say, representatives from countries were invited from Europe. And I'll be happy to share my, I should say, experience with working in Europe. And certainly, it's a very privilege for me to share my views with the newly qualified chartered accountants. I also congratulate all the CAs who have recently qualified and are attending this course, or I should say this series of event, where they will get to know a lot of experience or to talk and hear the leaders from various countries and industry to understand how they have shaped their career in the area after the qualification. This will certainly add quick, I should say, experience into your career, because you are listening to the people who are already working in the various areas. I will just move on with the next one. And certainly, when we say Europe, and why Europe? So it's I should say, cluster of almost 45 countries and with a population of 75 crores. So it's a very big, I should say, area, and with a lot of opportunities for finance professionals. So in my discussions, or I should say, topics, I'll just restrict myself to EU countries because Europe is a bit larger, which also includes Russia and some other part. But certainly, I've been working, or I should say, talking with various colleagues and friends who are working in EU countries. I also have an opportunity, or I should say privilege, to talk to various CAs in this area in the entire EU region. And so if you look, there are 27 countries in Europe, and which is a very big, I should say, in terms of is almost equal to India in terms of size, or I should say larger than India in terms of size. If you look, the EU countries, they have a trade with India of almost 288 billion euro with India. That means there are so many European companies who are already present in India, or they have their activities or operations in India. That means there is a kind of advantage for the companies to work, or I should say hire the CAs or finance professionals from India, or to get their benefit of their knowledge and experience. If I look, the countries largest by population, then it's certainly Germany, UK, France, Italy, and Spain are the top 5 countries by population, and also large. So you can see the GDP of India is around $2.9 trillion. With a population of 1.4 billion. While if I just take the top 6 countries in Europe, the economy is almost 14.8 trillion with a population of 0.3 billion. No doubt we can talk about the purchase price and then parity, and then it can change the entire graph. But what I want to depict here, that the economy is large, and certainly there are large opportunities for the finance professionals also. If you look the share of European companies in Fortune 500 across the globe, there are almost 25 to 30% companies coming from Europe who are constituent of Fortune 500 companies. That means it has got a very good share of the Fortune 500 companies who are operating across the globe. You can change the various parameters, and that's why it may be between 25 to 30%. It can be by a turnover, or by profit, or by by market cap. But still, it will range between 25 to 30% of the Fortune 500 companies. The other thing which I would like to mention here is demography. It's a very big continent. It has a different countries, different languages, and the main thing is aging population. If you look, many countries are like having a very average age is more than 50 years, or sometimes 52 to 55 years also. That means they need young people. They need young resources and young people to come here and work here. Certainly, the requirement may differ from various areas or various field, but certainly there is a need of young people in this part of world. And on the other side, India is the youngest country, I should say, in terms of young people. So we have certainly an advantage of providing, or I should say, moving this to this part of world and create a career here. After this, like last couple of 2 years, due to this pandemic, and also currently the supply chain issues and various challenges in terms of shipping cost, there is a now the companies have realized, and certainly they are also like doing so. As we know, earlier there was a shift, or I should say, everything was moved to one part of world in terms of manufacturing capabilities, and now the companies are thinking again to balance their risk in terms of manufacturing footprint. And we see a lot of companies are moving like satellite manufacturing hub or smaller facilities also in Europe, in a base cost countries like Poland, or I should say some other part of Eastern European countries. That means there is a now focus in Europe also when it comes to manufacturing. And with that, it will certainly increase the opportunity for chartered accountants or finance professionals also. And this will also give an opportunity for CS, certainly in turn. Apart from that, there are various emerging trends, not only in Europe, I should say, it's a global, I mean, like fintech, we know like there are like, everything is becoming more and more now online, or I should say, technology companies are coming and making this disruptive technology. The second thing is sustainability. And that is a very, very thought, after the age, all this thing, the companies are working on a sustainability very well. And that is also one of the emerging, I should say, discussion in the part of this part of world. And that is also bringing a lot of new companies who wants to work in these areas. Sometimes the companies are ready to pay high if the company is following the sustainability targets or sustainable business. And that is also bringing some new companies or avenues for the European companies. There is also a lot of research going on in the biotechnology, and the last is gaming industry. Though we don't understand, but there are like hundreds of companies who are only into gaming industry and making billions of revenue here. And that is also one of the area where there is a huge requirement of finance professionals and helping them to build a business from scratch to a very large. And certainly, though I would say it's not close as like, Prabhadeep, but certainly it's proximate to India. From any part of Europe, you can certainly reach India within 6 to 8 hours. So it's not far like US or Canada. So certainly this is also one of the advantage for those who want to move to this part of world. They can always, go back home whenever they need to go. So these are the things which I would certainly say why Europe. And I would say there are a lot of other stuff which we need to look into this when you take a decision to come this part of world. So when it comes to qualification, yes, CA qualification is good enough, I would say, because we get exposure to various areas of like finance and accounting and tax and those things. But certainly there are few courses, like if you want to pursue your career in the internal audit, then there are courses like CIA or system audit like CISA or DISA. Or if you want to make a career in tax field, then there is a ADIT course. And there are also numerous courses by ICAI also, which helps the helps the, I should say, newly qualified CA or experienced CA to build their career. I will just move to the next slide. And certainly we'll talk about which are the areas in finance. I have prepared a very simple slide to just talk about various topics, or I should say areas, which I think are very important and not only emerging, but also changing the shape in terms of requirements. So we always talk about financial controlling, and it is there, like, normal accounting and those activity, but it has been taken over. It has been taken over by technology. And there are disruptive technology, I would say, where the people were spending like 70, 80 hours per week has been done by robotic process automation within 10 minutes. So those disruptive technology are coming, and for creating or for managing those kind of, I should say, system, you need a very good finance professional, and there is a need for those financial professionals. Second is IFRS. I would say, and almost all the countries in Europe follow IFRS, or rather all the countries follow IFRS. And there is a very good demand of IFRS professionals. It's not so like, I would say it's not so easy finding IFRS or professional in this part of world. And I know it's important that ICA also, like, can certainly take some action and, include these kind of topics at least, or maybe an elective subject to help the Indian CA to understand more deeper understanding of IFRS. The second is business controlling. This is again a very normal term which we use, business controlling, but now it has been taken over by a word called business partnering. And this is the emerging trend in terms of helping the business, not only understanding the, like, just numbers, also understanding the logic behind the number, the driving, what drives the number, how the business is doing, what are the value drivers of those business. And that is also one of the, I should say, upcoming opportunity for CS in this part of world. Third is business analyst. There is a lot of, if you look all our ERP systems, there is a humongous number of data, but how to make sense out of those data using the modern technology, and how to make it more, I should say, help the decision making to the top management. And that's why this is another role which is coming as a business analyst. And I would say this really gives a very good insight into the business, understanding of the business, and also helps the I should say, build a career in your ladder, in a career ladder. The fourth is EU VAT. Though we say, GST, or we have very complex tax structure in India, but after like encountering some of the questions on EU VAT, I would say that is also a very good area for a CA to learn. And I can certainly say that, after working in a tax structure in India, this will be certainly easy for us Indian CA to digest, understand, and implement. And there are a lot of openings for EU VAT experts, or they need a lot of EU VAT experts in this part of world. And this is also one of the area, I should say, not only EU VAT, but also VAT coming up in GCC area, also tax, like newly introduced corporate tax in GCC area could be also like added as a course or elective subject, so that Indian CS get a bit kind of introduction to this part of activity or tax structure that can really help them to build their career. The fifth is tax, cross-border. So it's mainly the transfer pricing, withholding tax matters. That is also because when a company is having operations in India, or I should say the Asian part of Asian countries, the person coming from those part really can understand the complexities and also help the company to be a more compliant in a quicker way. The next one is more technology, I should say. So one is regarding ERP rollouts and upgrades. I would like to quote here that I know many friends here in Sweden itself who are working with ERP solution companies like SAP, Oracle, and some other IT companies, and who are qualified chartered accountants. And I see there is a need of finance professionals in this kind of project. And when you are new in a new entrant, they also have a various opportunity for new in ERP companies, or I should say the companies who deal with these ERP rollouts. The second is system integration. Though it looks technical, but certainly nowadays companies ERP doesn't stop from like I should say PR to PO, or I should say like ARR, but they try and go and link to the vendors ERP also, or sometimes vendors or banks IT bank system also. And then it's a very good area where a finance professional can certainly come in and validate those integrations, not only from technical perspective, because that is more technical, but how the system will behave, how other parts of system will look when you integrate this kind of activity in your ERP. So this is another area which I see coming up in for chartered accountants. The third is finance lead, because when the companies roll out these ERPs, sometimes there are a lot of technical people and who might be lacking, or I should say will not have full understanding of finance or all the flows or all the transactions. And here also I see a good opportunity for CAs to be part of this kind of projects as a finance lead. Similarly, when you spend few years in this finance lead position, there are also project lead opportunities coming for CAs. And I know a couple of friends who are working in this kind of project lead in a ERP solution rollouts. The fifth is shared services. As we know, like earlier, maybe 10 years back, a lot of companies had their shared services in Philippines, India, and they have set up a lot of shared service centers. But now, in a new, I should say, trend, there are a lot of European companies who have set up not only shared service in India, but they are also setting up their shared services in Europe also, like in a country like Poland or I should say Bulgaria. And those who have experience of the shared service center are really welcomed, and their experience is very much appreciated when they are setting up a new shared service center here. Apart from that, I know there are few shared service center by European companies like Maersk or Shell or like Volvo, a very big shared service center in India also. This why I'm talking about shared service center, because this is a very good entry point to understand the global operations. The third area which I would like to talk about is internal audit and internal control. And when we talk about internal audit or internal control, earlier it was seen as a like just like normal audit process, but now due to new digital era, this has become very important area for the companies. They need a very good literacy, who have IT literacy, who understand the business very well, to be employed and work on this project. Also, there are various hubs created by companies wherein they put people like similar team to work on the internal audit, creating a center of excellence at one place. And I should say, as an entrant, this is also a very good area to learn the entire business. When you are working in an internal audit mainly, you really get a chance to look into various processes of the company. And if someone has worked for like couple of years, they really become very good finance professional, understanding the business. Internal control, because internal control is a first step, and then you also have internal audit. So I would say both goes hand in hand. Certainly one is like more validation from an audit perspective. The second area is CEO, CFO and CEO office, or kind of business office roles. I saw some of the openings recently wherein the companies need, or I should say CFO need someone to work very closely with them, who can certainly go through some of the presentation or some reports and create a very crisp, or I should say a very nice summary for the CFO to read or take decision. And this kind of roles are now emerging in many companies. So this also I see a new area, and certainly an option for a trainee, because they normally prefer who's coming as a fresher and coming and helping them. The third is compliance. When we talk about compliance, like normally we talk about or we think about anti-corruption or bribery, then those stuff. But that's very old, I should say, or that has now become very, very rare. Now it's more IT threat. How we should be good when it comes to compliance and put in a controls where we are compliant with various IT requirements, maybe GDPR, data security, and those kind of activities, apart from, I should say, the normal compliance activities. So that's another area which I see very much emerging. And why I'm saying that CAs are also fit for this one, because when during our 3 years training and also in our curriculum, we learn about various aspects of finance and tax and regulatory requirement, or maybe corporate governance. And these roles really require that kind of understanding, apart from customs and I should say those activities. The fourth is statutory audits and system audit. I think I will not talk much about that one, because that's very much known, I should say, or it's given or taken. The fourth area which I see, certainly M&A analyst. There are companies who have their own M&A department, where they need very I don't say junior, but a person who has a good drive, who want to learn new things and work as an analyst. And this I see also very good opportunity for new entrant. They also work on the various integration project where you get a small activity to support the newly acquired business also. The next is business transformation. Each company, goes through various business cycles, and they also have a strategy how they should react, or I should say rather not react but act in case of various business cycles. And companies sometimes runs a very big project of transformation, transforming the entire business, looking into various like supply chain, purchasing, finance, manufacturing footprint. And these projects also need a very good understanding of business, and there are a lot of opportunities in this area also. The third is asset management. There are various asset management companies based out in Europe. I mean, we know it may be UBS or there are many companies like Deutsche Bank, and those banks, or I should say companies, come out with opening, they hire interns for a 6 month to 1 year, and this is also a very good learning cycle for the person who want to really go into this area or taste this area of work. And this certainly gives a very good overview. Certainly it's a very, and I should say, and as a qualified, certainly it's a very entry level role, but these roles really give a very good opportunity to understand how this activity or this business work. Similarly with investment banking, same thing, I would say there are openings, and I have seen these opportunities coming on their career portals. I would certainly recommend to look into those opportunities if you are interested in the investment banking. And I know it's a very interesting, or I should say there are so many people who are really want to go into this area, but I think there are opportunities also here. It requires a lot of perseverance, and no doubt there are a lot of various rounds of interviews and tests. But this, if you get opportunity, this is also a good option to build your career in this investment banking also. Fifth is global firms India desk. As we know, there are multinational companies operating out, European companies operating in India. Similarly, a lot of Indian companies operating in Europe. And both the side need to understand various regulatory landscape on both the side. And there are like India desk where they take care of India's, I should say, requirement. And I have seen people coming over to Europe and working in these firms and helping, or I should say, working in the India desk. This is also very good, I should say, area of work, because you certainly work in Europe, but you certainly help the company to build that business in India, or vice versa. And if I see, like, if I sum all these things, I would say we need to have a content when it comes to our activity, like accounting, tax, and the major thing is business understanding. What drives the business? Like if you talk about like Amazon or Uber, Amazon is not a retail company. If you look, it's a mainly logistics company. How fast they do the logistics is important for them, and warehousing. Or we talk about Uber, again, it's not a car company. It's just an app. But so what drives the value, is very important when you understand, or when you work for the company. So I say content is very important. Second thing is communicate. It is very important that how we communicate, how we can talk about like storytelling, which just mentioned by, Kala. It's a very, very important how you tell the story, to the management, to your stakeholders, or to your peers and colleagues. And that is also one of the important, I should say, aspect in terms of communication. And third is connect. How you connect with your, I should say, with your colleagues, with your management, with your team. And I see these three C as per the role, as per the, I should say, requirement of the role, and various aspect. The proportion may be different, but certainly I think these three aspects are important to kind of finance career successfully. I will talk about now how, because I will talk about like, what's Europe and opportunities. But I would certainly say how to do it, So one option, these are very practical things based on my own observation. So there can be hundreds of ways. But I think one is to get into opportunity if there is any company who has a European base or European presence. That's one of the area I would recommend to, if you are interested to move to Europe. Second is use of LinkedIn. And I would say majority recruitments are happening via LinkedIn when it comes to Europe. And now I should say it's prevalent everywhere. But yes, in Europe, LinkedIn is very famous in terms of recruitments and job openings. Second is referrals, certainly. And you can always use some other job portals when it comes to the opportunities. The third is finance internship programs. So this is also a very good option, when you are new in a career and want to taste, how it works. Then certainly there are some internship programs which you can certainly apply, and after due process you get the opportunity. The fourth is global or corporate global graduate programs, like including my company also. Like I know few other companies like ABB or Atlas Copco and some other. They have a global graduate programs where they take the newly qualified graduates, or I should say MBAs or CA or any other freshly qualified, and then they get a 2 years time wherein they work in a different areas for like 3 to 6 months, and then they are placed in a one place, and this is very, 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 I should say, now relevant and good for those who want to work in a global conglomerate and build their career. And now I know due to this work from home, there are more and more opportunities globally opening up. because now we can work from anywhere. And that's the advantage for us sitting in India also, that you can always apply for some opportunities in Europe and still work from home. The other thing is ask for help. Certainly when we are new, when I was also new, I would certainly recommend, whenever you think you need some help from some your, I should say, seniors or colleagues, or I should say, always ask for help. And now, ICAI is becoming very much active overseas also. So certainly you can use the various chapters and ROs to get more information about the country, the location or the city, and some other stuff also, like, to get a bit soft landing in those part of world. And always look into the, get yourself updated with MOUs and MRAs, which can help you to understand, or while you're applying, you can always mention that, how your degree is equivalent to those countries' MOUs or MRAs. Quick one, I know, I will take this super quick. Work permits and visa. So I would say when it comes to EU, there are certain rules and regulations for applying for visa, and always keep in mind those visa requirements and rules before you get lured into any job opportunity, so that you know that what you are doing. To have in Europe, I would, in a different, based on a country, but like between 5 to 7 years, you become eligible to get a passport of the certificate, like a particular country. And that's really opens up a EU job market for you. So as for example, I moved to Sweden. So initially I can only work in Sweden for 4 years. Then I get a PR after 1 year. And then after 5 years, once you become a Swedish citizenship, or once you become Swedish citizen, it opens up the opportunity of jobs in entire EU. So what we are talking is around 300 million people. So it's a big market when it comes to when you have stayed a bit longer here. Second thing is language. Like English is prevalent, but certainly I would say there are countries like Germany or France where the majority of the dealing happens in German or their own region, own country's language. So always be ready, be prepared to learn some new language. And culture is also important, but that we can adopt. We are most adaptable people. But language is also one of the important aspect which you should always keep in mind, that once you land, you should try to learn the language, which will help you to understand the culture also. Other point is, just kind of, I should say, majority of the European countries, there is a very good support for their citizens as well as those who are working there to help them in their further education. And there are many courses which you can take here, like part-time or full-time, which are at a very, very subsidized fees. That can be also one of the advantage. You can move here, work here, and also get one additional degree here. Which I'm talking, I don't know what about all the countries in Europe, but certainly majority of the countries have this, I should say, free education and free medical and some of the benefits for their citizens, as well as those who are working and living there. I would rest my voice here, and certainly when you work in any global company, always think global but act local. Prabhadeep ji, I am done with my presentation.
Thank you so much, Rajesh, for your time and your support. And you have spoken about certain points, and at ICAI with the elective subjects a few years back in CA final, and having global financial reporting standards also in that, we have been making progress very fast on giving more and more options for our students. And when this new proposed syllabus, when it will be hosted for public comments, for comments from everyone. I encourage that everyone can come forward and participate. And one more thing I would like to mention here, that you said that chapters and representative offices help can be taken. Similarly, the different committees have we have publications where we have information on different countries in one publication, and also we have country kits which are regularly revised for many countries. And as our presence in US and Europe is increasing, with most probably Scotland coming into the picture very soon, and those country kits can also be of great help to our members. And so with now, I would like to request Committee Secretary Mr. G. Ranganathan Ji to please propose a vote of thank you.
Thank you, CA Rajesh Gandhi ji. It was a very wonderful session and very much welcome session for our young members who are into their first job. Maybe many of them might be thinking of relocating because the pandemic situation has improved globally, particularly in India and Middle East. We don't have it, but maybe in Europe, in certain parts, still the pandemic is there. But then our members are very brave. They'll definitely like to come. And then you also said our members, we Indians are very adaptable also to any culture. So your session has come in very handy. You are very aptly covered about the various prominent countries where they can think about, particularly in the European Union. The aging population is one of the very big aspects. I feel that India is a very, very young population as compared to the Europe or even the Far East. And the various sectors also you covered, and how they can tap the help of our chapters, or how they can get into thinking about relocating. Very wonderful sessions, a very practical one. Thank you so very much, here Rajesh Gandhi ji. Very grateful to you for your time. And irrespective, and you are from Sweden, and it's a lunch hour. You took out time on a Sunday. Very grateful to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ranganathan ji. Before we close for the day, I would like to make a mention that tomorrow is the second day coming up, where we have 3 speakers on very important topics, where we have one of the most favorite CA Kamal Garg based from New Delhi, who will be talking about the self-assessment on career planning. Then we have technology, half an hour session on technology, that what can be your career opportunities in that. And then we have our leader, one of the leaders from African continent, CA Kapil Garg, who will be talking about excitements of being a chartered accountant, and that will be of great interest to you. So please request all our members who are present here today, please be here back tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. IST, and also encourage your friends to come and take benefit of this program. Sincere gratitude to Committee for Members in Industry and Business, Chairman Sir C. Ranjit Agarwal Sir, and Vice Chairman Sir C. Dr. Raj Chavla Sir. Thank you to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and stay safe, take care, bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Pradeep. Thank you, C. Rajesh Gandhi ji. Bye-bye.